Well, let's take this further with the spokesperson for the presidency, Vincent Magwenya, joining us, I believe, from the capital, Pretoria. Very good afternoon to you, sir. You've issued a statement today saying you've noted with concern claims that the president did not answer the question around Phala Phala yesterday, but that's not really what's caused outrage among the opposition and some members of the public. The issue is the fact that there was nothing new said, but merely a reiteration of what he's previously said, that being that all he can say for now is that he's willing to cooperate, to be held accountable, but he'll wait for the outcome of the multiple investigations into the saga. Why does he believe that's sufficient? Mr. Magwenya, we are unable to hear you. Let's try that again.
My apologies. Good afternoon, Tembegile, and good afternoon to the viewers. Tembegile, the reason for the outrage is a bit perplexing coming from opposition parties. I suppose they did not read the question that was in the order paper. They had their own expectations and intentions about that session yesterday, mainly which was to disrupt and not accord the president the opportunity to answer all questions that were put before him. If you look at the question as it was asked, you will realize that the president actually responded to that question. That's the first thing. The second thing is the National Assembly, with all due respect, does not have investigative powers that can discern between what is fiction and fact. Hence, the Section 89 process that the Speaker has instituted has been welcomed by the President because it will be capacitated with individuals of high integrity with the necessary and prerequisite legal expertise to be able to get to the bottom of the facts. What the opposition parties are seeking is a PR charade where whatever the President says, they will still dispute it because they're in it for political reasons, not for the pursuance of justice as they claim.
Park that then. What about the public that wants to hear what really happened? If the president is in possession of the full set of facts, the truth, why not tell that full truth on any platform, regardless of what the intention of the people who are asking some of the questions may or may not be?
Contextually, we are dealing with a rogue spying operation here that bears no accountability to anybody. A public tussle between the president and that operation will not serve anybody. The best way is for the president to seek the public's patience and indulgence and allow for legal due process to evaluate all of the facts that have been put forward. We have allegations and claims, wild allegations that have been put forward here. Those allegations must be tested against the president's story, and that capacity to test those allegations and their veracity belongs to law enforcement agencies. We understand the anxiety of the public. We appreciate the concerns that the public may have. We can affirm what the president has said before, that he was not party to any criminal conduct or wrongdoing. But in order for him to clear himself, he needs to allow credible investigative authorities to do the investigation and to pronounce at the end of those investigations.
But if his story is indeed true, sir, why can't he tell it 1, 10, 50 times?
Because when it does so, the rogue spying operation will come with a counter for all we know. We don't know. Rather, let's have all impacted parties, those who make allegations and those who are alleged to be perpetrators in this case, subjected to a proper investigation.
But
otherwise,
Mr. Magwenya, pardon me, sorry, but if his version is true, it should be able to withstand any agenda, be it rogue spying or whatever else.
Don't divorce politics from this whole issue. So we're dealing with contestations as well here. So let's not divorce them, that they have a large voice in this. So the best way for any story that's put forward to be related and to be given credibility is for law enforcement agencies to come out with their own conclusions and findings once they've conducted their investigations. The PP is conducting an investigation. Parliament is going to investigate. The Hawks are investigating. The Reserve Bank is investigating. The number of agencies investigating. Right. So why can we not wait for those investigations to be concluded? This impatience borders on contempt for all those investigative authorities as if they're incompetent and they cannot do their work.
Well, some South Africans will say they've been more than patient, and in fact, on 2 occasions, we now know of the public protector having to give the president an extension to respond to questions about the robbery. The Reserve Bank has confirmed in correspondence to the EFF that even there's had to be an extension sought. Now they're expecting further detail to be provided by September 8th. So even where those processes have happened, there have been requests from the president's side which have indeed delayed our journey towards the truth as confirmed by an investigation. No?
Requests for extensions are part of due process, and they do not equal or translate to non-compliance. That's number one. Number two, those requests are a result of a very punishing schedule that the president has to commit to and work under, unfortunately. But they must not be translated as an unwillingness to comply or a desire to delay. Nobody wants these investigations concluded as speedily as possible as the president, because as he has said before, he wants to proceed to focus on the task at hand. The reforms that he has initiated are beginning to bear fruits, especially in the area of fighting corruption. That work must go ahead, and he's focused on that task. So unfortunately, because of all of those commitments, sometimes he has to request for extensions, which are part of due process and can never be seen as translating to an unwillingness to comply.
But they are adding to the uncertainty and a slow arrival at the truth, which you say the president so desperately seeks to be confirmed.
Well, responses have been given to various authorities. Where we are now, we can only hope that those investigations will be reasonably concluded so that we can come out of that uncertainty. The one thing that South Africans must feel some comfort from is that they have a president who's firmly focused on his task at hand, who is not about to give up on the commitments he's made. And those commitments are beginning to bear fruits. Hence, the kind of onslaught he is faced with from all quarters. That could be some comfort. On the other hand, as I've said, we wish that those investigations will be speedily concluded, because responses have been provided, and the president has been fully supportive and cooperative to those investigations.
How would confirming, for instance, the amount of money that we're told was stolen in foreign currency, how would confirming that now and confirming whether there was compliance with the country's SARS or revenue collection laws, how would that be changed if indeed it's true, if the information from the president is factual? How would it be changed by any, as you were saying earlier, politics or any agenda, if it's fact?
It will not be changed, Thembekile, but at the same time, it's not prudent to release information in a piecemeal fashion when there are a number of agencies involved and several issues that are being probed. It's just a case of discipline and respect for due process in this regard. The president has said that the amount that was claimed is significantly exaggerated and much higher than the initial amount.
What is the right amount?
Well, Thembekile, you're trying to get me now to do exactly what I'm trying to explain the president cannot do, which I appreciate from your end. But let's just wait for these investigations to be concluded, and we hope that they'll be concluded fairly soon. We're looking forward to the parliamentary process in terms of the panel inquiry and submitting or the president rather submitting himself to that process and giving his version of the truth in that process, which will be capacitated much better than just a group of political parties with subjective interest in the process.
So I want to go back to the issue of the responses and the delays. I want to read to you a line from the statement by the EFF. It says here, it is even more telling that it's taken the president 36 days to give a response to the Reserve Bank, meaning he's not given a substantive answer to the origins and transactions which underlie the foreign currency on Phala Phala farm. Why does he need more than a month to set those facts forward? What has he been able to provide to SARS, and what is now outstanding?
As I've said,
the Reserve Bank, pardon me.
those extensions were requested simply because of the punishing schedule that the president works under. There's nothing sinister from that. But the FF will always throw aspersions. I mean, when has the FF ever been objective in its view towards the president? So you can take whatever they say with a pinch of salt. I don't know them to be experts on such investigations, except that they're pursuing a political agenda aimed at, discrediting the president. So these authorities are the experts. They're the ones who are in charge of these investigations, not opposition parties. The period of time it has taken the president to respond does not mean non-compliance or trying to hide anything. It's simply because of his punishing schedule, and he remains willing to even entertain more questions that they might have in the course of the investigation.
But is all of that, the president's position, is it worth, and I'm sensitive to time now because we are in fact over our allotted time, but is the president's position worth a continuous or repeated collapse of the business of Parliament whenever he appears, as happened yesterday? Because the opposition will no doubt keep bringing this up until he gives in some way.
That responsibility of collapsing Parliament lies squarely in the parties in Parliament in how they behave. They did not even look at the question that was not in the order paper. They did not even listen to the president's response. They then followed up with all sorts of frivolous points of orders. They, the ones who are members of that house, the decorum of that house, the maintenance thereof, is entirely their responsibility. The president cannot be blamed for that. If anything, they denied South Africans the opportunity to hear the president out on many other questions that were in that order paper.
Finally, we're out of time. Yes or no, will the president meet the deadline to respond to the Reserve Bank by the 8th of September, next week?
He will endeavor to do so, Tebelin.
He will endeavor to do so. Vincent Magwenya, spokesperson for the presidency, thank you for your time.